Imagine a war that lasted less than an hour. Unbelievable, right? Yet it's true. Welcome to the curious tale of the Anglo-Zanzibar War, a conflict that holds the record for the shortest war in history. In the annals of time, wars have raged on for years, even decades, but this one was over before the ink dried on the declaration of war. This unique encounter took place in the late 19th century, between the mighty British Empire and the Sultanate of Zanzibar. It lasted a mere 38 minutes, but in those fleeting moments, the course of Zanzibar's history was irrevocably altered. This was a war that, despite its brevity, bore weighty implications for the people of Zanzibar and the rippling effects of colonialism. So, fasten your seatbelts as we journey back in time to unravel the fascinating details of this unprecedented conflict. Welcome to the story of the world's shortest recorded war. Our story begins on the beautiful island of Zanzibar. Nestled in the azure waters of the Indian Ocean, Zanzibar had long been a hub of trade and cultural exchange. Its strategic location attracted the attention of the Omani Empire, and in the early 19th century, Sultan Said bin Sultan moved his capital from Muscat to Zanzibar, establishing a robust trade network. Zanzibar's wealth was built on the spice and slave trades, and its prosperity did not go unnoticed. The British Empire, expanding its global reach, was keen on gaining control over Zanzibar. However, the task was not easy. The Omani influence was deeply rooted, and the island was under the rule of Sultan Said bin Sultan, who was known for his shrewdness and diplomatic acumen. The year 1861 marked a significant turning point in Zanzibar's history. Upon the death of Sultan Said, a power struggle ensued between his sons. The island was eventually divided, with Majid bin Said taking control of Zanzibar. His reign marked the beginning of a new era, as Zanzibar began to carve out its own identity distinct from the Omani Empire. However, the British Empire was still watching closely. They saw an opportunity in this power shift, a chance to extend their influence over Zanzibar. Little did they know, this would soon lead to the shortest war in history. However, Zanzibar's fate would soon be intertwined with that of the British Empire. The British Empire, with its interests in the region, couldn't resist getting involved. This involvement came in the form of strategic political maneuvers. The British Empire was quick to acknowledge Zanzibar as a new independent nation, marking a significant moment in the island's history. To understand the British interest in Zanzibar, we must delve into the geopolitical landscape of the era. Zanzibar was not just an island paradise, but a vital cog in the wheel of international trade. Its location, off the east coast of Africa, made it a gateway to the continent, offering control over the Indian Ocean's trade routes. This strategic importance was not lost on the British Empire, who saw in Zanzibar an opportunity to extend their sphere of influence. But the British interest wasn't solely focused on trade advantages. There was a darker side to Zanzibar's prosperity: the slave trade. Zanzibar was a significant hub for this inhumane practice, and the British Empire, which had outlawed slavery within its borders, was poised to clamp down on this brutal trade in human lives. This British intervention was not without its consequences. The presence of the British Empire and its increasing influence began to shift the balance of power in Zanzibar. This transition would set the stage for a conflict that would go down in history as the world's shortest war. Their involvement would soon change the face of Zanzibar. But beneath the beauty of Zanzibar lay a dark and cruel reality. This paradise island, known for its spices and exotic allure, was also the setting for one of the world's most notorious slave markets. Zanzibar's slave market was a heart-wrenching testament to humanity's capacity for cruelty. Slaves were brought from the African mainland, often walking for weeks in chains, only to be sold like commodities in Zanzibar's bustling market. They were packed tightly into dhows, small sailing vessels, with little regard for their health or well-being. Many perished on these horrific voyages, their bodies thrown overboard without ceremony or mourning. Once in Zanzibar, the slaves' ordeal was far from over. They were paraded in front of prospective buyers, subjected to humiliating inspections, and then sold to the highest bidder. Their fate was then in the hands of their new masters, with many forced to endure backbreaking labor in the clove plantations. but a beacon of hope appeared on this grim horizon. The British Empire, in its quest for control over Zanzibar, was also keen to stamp out the slave trade. They pressured the sultans of Zanzibar to gradually reduce and eventually abolish this inhumane practice. The British Navy patrolled the East African coast, intercepting slave dhows and liberating those held captive. A horrific chapter of Zanzibar's history was coming to an end. The British intervention marked a turning point, signaling the end of the slave trade in Zanzibar and initiating a new era in the island's history. Tensions were rising, and war was on the horizon. The British Empire, having firmly established itself in Zanzibar's political affairs, was now facing a new sultan, Khalid bin Bargash, who was not recognized by the British. Bargash's ascension to the throne without British approval was a direct violation of a treaty signed between Zanzibar and the British Empire. The British, determined to uphold their authority, demanded that Bargash step down. When he refused, the stage was set for a conflict that would go down in history as the world's shortest war. The war, if we can call it such, was swift and decisive. On the morning of August 27, 1896, British warships opened fire on the Sultan's palace. The bombardment, intense and unrelenting, lasted a mere 38 minutes. The Sultan's forces, vastly outnumbered and outgunned, were quickly overwhelmed. By the time the smoke cleared, the palace was in ruins and Bargash was on the run. In the aftermath of the conflict, the British installed a puppet sultan, effectively turning Zanzibar into a British protectorate. The political landscape of Zanzibar was forever altered. Slavery was officially abolished and the slave market, once the largest in East Africa, was closed for good. In just 38 minutes, the course of Zanzibar's history was forever changed. The world's shortest war left a lasting impact. The Anglo-Zanzibar War, though brief, was a pivotal moment in history, marking the end of a dark chapter in Zanzibar's narrative. A chapter that was tainted with the horrors of the slave trade, a practice that had plagued the island for centuries. When the dust of the conflict settled, the landscape of Zanzibar had changed dramatically. The British, victorious and resolute, ushered in an era of transformation. The slave market, once a symbol of a brutal past, was dismantled, and in its place, a cathedral, a symbol of hope and redemption, was erected. But the changes were not merely architectural. The social fabric of Zanzibar had been altered too. The British introduced reforms aimed at improving the lives of the locals. Education became accessible, and the economy, once reliant on the inhumane trade of human beings, was diversified. Politically, Zanzibar found itself under the influence of the British Empire, a shift that would shape its future. The policies implemented during the British Protectorate set the stage for Zanzibar's eventual integration into modern-day Tanzania. The echoes of the Anglo-Zanzibar War reverberate beyond the island's shores. It is a poignant reminder of the power of change, of the potential for transformation, even in the most dire of circumstances. It serves as a testament to humanity's capacity to evolve, to learn from its past, and forge a better future. This unique historical event has lessons for us even today. The Anglo-Zanzibar War, brief as it was, has much to teach us. In just 38 minutes, it altered the political landscape of Zanzibar and marked the end of a dark era. These fleeting moments of conflict remind us of the profound impact that even brief events can have on our world. Engage with this piece of history. Delve deeper into the conflicts that shaped our world. History is full of such fascinating stories waiting to be unraveled. So, let's keep exploring.